great morning, guys, a great afternoon, guys. Welcome to the Friday class. Today is going to be a short class because we need to go and get this Friday. Hopefully, you guys, you're having a fantastic day, guys. And let's get me started with you guys. Alexander G in the house, the Queen mode. Welcome. You don't know how grateful I am for you guys to staying and staying around here. That is fantastic. JB, what is up? Also, we have Caffeinated Crypto. What is up, my guy? Welcome. So, for some reason, I'm not hearing the music. So, I was a little bit afraid that it was not playing out or anything. Guys, just let me know if something it is not working on the side chat. Other than that, let's get working. Let's get practicing on what we have learned today. It is Friday. We're just gonna be doing some setups. So let me know if you have a favorite setup or a favorite coin that you would like me to take a look at that. And we're gonna be preparing for the weekend. Something interesting. It is that well, weekends usually low volume. So if we're not looking that bullish on a coin, we should be a little bit careful. But doesn't hurt just to look around sometimes. Remember, as Piper said, sometimes a position, it's not a position. So basically, you don't need to be trading it every single day. But other than that, let's see if we can skip it and make some money on the weekends. Let's go. So this is where we left out yesterday. We were explaining this area right here. Remember, we were at this point when the replay, right? And what happened right there, it is that we were planning to either enter right away as we were having this entry point or waiting for a better entry, right? Another thing that I mentioned, it is, well, if we don't feel that comfortable entering in here because our strategy is not telling us that we should be entering right there just yet, well, then we can split our entry in half of a position here and another half of a position there. What happens? Well, in this case, we need confirmation. Where's our confirmation? Well, we're gonna be looking for those support and resistances. Let me just bring them up. There it is. So hitting first, supporting here, and then what we're seeing, more candles, tiny candles, green candle. There we go. And what's happening right here? We're having an extra green candle already playing out. What is our next area of resistance? It is up here. So our trade becomes very short. All right. So as you can see, despite we were looking to enter a little bit lower, well, our confirmation came after, and we just needed to wait. So at this point, what we do is not about the breakout; it's about your retest. This is your retest, and then off we go. We enter for the next entry area for a short. What we do now, well, we follow the same rules. Look at that. We have now our perfect entry right there, and then off we go. All right, so we just rinse and repeat. Let me just clear this up and let's get started at the end of Bitcoin here. Let me make sure that we are not on replay or anything like that. Perfect. Seems like we are ready to go. And we're going to be using our main oscillator. Don't worry, we're going to be taking a look at many other oscillators that we talked about, and also we're going to be finding Confluence, right? Or Confluence, as we usually do with our layering system. All right. So let's see. Hey, Alex, out crypto, what is up? Welcome, my friend. Great to have you here in the chat room. Thank you so much, Alex L in the chat. So let's take a look at here. All said, what's up, brother? Welcome. Great to have you around. So we'll see if we can start making some money on the weekends. Remember, as I mentioned, weekends, low volume. We need to be careful, but we'll see how what the charts tell us to do, right? So let's take a look at here. So first of all, we're on 30 minutes. Let's start moving into something like 1 hour. I want to see a little bit more data. Why I'm usually more or way much more profitable the 4 hour, but I know that we could be having an early entry on the lower time frame. So we're gonna be mixing a little bit those time frames today, so not to make it too boring or too soon of a movement, right? So what we have in here, first of all, as I always mention, zoom out, and let's identify what is the market structure. At this point, our market structure, it is basically a range, right? Can we identify the range? Of course, this is the top range and this is the bottom range. Let me see if I can also manually draw them. There we go. This is it. So now that we have made it, create this, let's go and take a look at what we can do. Well, we usually buy the bottom and sell the top, right? We already know that, but at this point it seems like, and let me turn on my my main indicator here, right, which is my market Oracle Pro Plus. It is giving me a little bit more information. One of those infographic things that I'm having, it is my volatility factor, right? I have a 35.69% volatility, so it's pretty volatile. What does that mean? When we are volatile, we're gonna be having a movement like that. So basically, it's volatile. You know, it's trying to volatilize, right? It's moving. It's not staying where it's supposed to be staying, so on and so forth. So I also going to be looking for my prime score. My prime score is basically a cheat code to see whether if I'm bullish or am I bearish in a glance. At this point, I'm bearish. And finally, I'm going to be looking at my consolidation score. Yeah, I already know that I'm consolidating, right? But how far into that consolidation I am? I am right now somewhere around 5 out of 10. What is this telling me? This is telling me that I am consolidating, all right? But also it's telling me that I am halfway there. Usually when I start seeing 7, 8, something like that, it tells me not only that I'm highly consolidating, but it's also telling me that I'm getting to the end of that consolidation and I could be breaking outwards, all right? Usually when I see a 10, which is not going to be a normal number to see, that will be telling me that I am extremely over consolidating, right? And I should be breaking out at any moment. So Wick's wife, welcome. Great to have you here. A shout out for you. Great to have you around. Happy to see you. So at this point, everything is pointing out that I'm bearish, mostly bearish, right? I'm within the same range. I am halfway that range, so I can maybe start aiming for higher zones for that ranging, right? And also I could be looking for not breaking out immediately, all right? Another thing that I'm seeing here, let me just turn off this my support and resistances. It is that the median of that range is somewhere around here, right? You can see that I'm spending a lot of time below that median, right? And despite I do have my upwards movement here, most of the time I am below that line. And that usually it's giving me a weighted dice, all right? So it's telling me, hey buddy, you know what, despite this is a dice, this is a unknown breakout because it's a range, well then it seems like we might be breaking downwards, all right? So we need to be careful about it and we need to take those odds how they're coming. So what are we going to be thinking here? Remember, ranging unknown breakouts, right? Coming down on the range, usually flat positive continuation. So that also is telling me maybe a breakout scenario. Another thing that I'm seeing, it's heavily weighted downwards. So everything is pointing like, you know what, this is looking like a bearish range, all right? But let's not take it for granted. Let's start looking our, for example, non-linear oscillator here. Why am I going to be looking at my non-linear? Remember that the non-linear, it has clipping. This basically is just discarding everything else, right? And just telling me whether I am bullish or I am bearish on the next immediate move. Remember what we told, or what I told you here. If I already had hit the bottom here, right? If I'm oscillating, well, usually hitting the bottom means that I could be reversing upwards here, right? I have a low, I have a higher low. It seems like I'm making a small flagging here, right? So it will be logical for me to get somewhere around previous reversing zones, all right? So this is telling me, hey, you know what? Our odds of moving upward is now changing. So yeah, do expect a next movement to the upside in here unless something important happen. All right. Sorry, I had my four-legged son in here just asking me to play around with him. So he is a Doberman. Sorry for that. Just needed to, like sometimes distract him a little bit. Oh, come on, buddy. I'm working. There we go. All right. So let's continue. And let's see what else we have in here. Now that we have kind of like a heads up in here that yes, this is a weighted dice to the downside, but at this point I'm looking for what? It may be movement to the upside. Well, I can be thinking of something maybe like this, right? Maybe not having enough strength, right, to keep pushing to the upside. And even if I see it, look at that. How long did I stay up and up in there? And now I'm just having a little bit there and then retracing. Well, it will make sense that I start making something like that, right? Something of a less momentum, less space above it. In fact, you can also see it here. Look at how long we were above it here before breaking downwards, right? And then we reduce that time, so it will make sense for us to make lower or less of a time next time in here, right? So still, despite the next movement, it's calling for to be an upwards movement. It is not as bullish of a movement as we should be, as in other occasions, right? Let's take a look at now at the linear regression oscillator, right? What is this oscillator telling me, right? If we compare it, and let's compare it to the squeeze momentum, right? Remember, we already have some experience with the squeeze momentum. What is telling me? Both of them have the same structure, all right? So right here, we are on the green. And you see how we have a bigger cloud in there, a bigger wave, and then we're having a smaller wave, right? Let's compare it to when that happened. Bigger, smaller, and then we flop, right? Let's see if we can find something else. Here it is. Look at that. Bigger, smaller, right? And then we flop. And you usually make that downwards movement right here also, right? So less of a movement here. Nonetheless, let's not complicate the stuff in here, and we are on what part of the bullish movement? Let me zoom in, and you'll see here that we already are into the negative part of the bearish movement. We are kind of like flattening here, so we either move upward slightly or we range, right? So far, unless something changes, we are gonna be ranging or moving slightly to the upside, right? All right, everything is good and all, but how do I make money on this, right? I mean, I know this is telling me everything, like slightly this, slightly that, not really definitive movement. Well, this is a lesson that we need to take in. Not always you're gonna be seeing that, hey, sharp movement, entry here, or you know what, a clear crystal ball, and we're gonna be seeing, you know, like enter there, exit there, so on and so forth, right? Sometimes the market's telling you, wait, hold on to it, right? Hold it. See what's going to happen and then react to it, right? We also talked about reaction versus planning, right? The OODA loop, right? Or what I like to call it, the what was it? Oh man, I don't know. Those things loop. Anyway, the thing with Oompa Loompa loop, right? Or the OODA loop, it is that you need to have a plan. And then when the market reacts or acts upon or collapse to a decision, you already know what to do, and you're not entirely just guessing or waving the thing, right? Just to see what happens. You already know what you're going to be doing, and this is what we're seeing right here. We're seeing undecision. We are still bullish, but undecisively bullish. So what do we do? How do we trade this? Well, last time we were undecisively bullish, somewhere around here. We waited for breakout, retest, look, absorption zone, confirmation. There we go. You trade this, wait for a retest, and off we go. All right. Same thing we're going to be doing. Look at that. If I bring this line in here and I put it somewhere around here, kind of like matches almost perfectly, right? I mean, this had just a double top. In the meantime, I'm just looking for breakout retest, right? And then the double top. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. In fact, this is the 1 hour. Maybe we can actually find more structure in the 15 minutes. All right, let's try to do that. If you really are itching for that trade, we can go lower and start to find those kind of trades. Let's do that exercise today, right now. And then we're going to be just moving back into the 4 hours and doing some setups, one after another. All right. So right here, what do we see? Well, we have a low, higher low, perfect structure. I can draw a trend line here. Well, I still having higher lows. I can draw another trend line here, right? I can also draw another line up in here, another trend line. So if I can still draw trend lines, why do I clutter this thing with that many trend lines? I can go into one of my tools in here, right? And then do, sorry for that, regression trend. Just click, and that's it. So what are we seeing here? Breakout pattern, right? It's not about the breakout, it's about your retest, and then off we go to the downside. So what are we going to be seeing here? Well, you can try to long the base, which right now we are onto, right? And that will look like long position at our support. Let's see if we have any other kind of supports. Well, we're going to be losing the support here. We have a big gap, so no other supports all the way down here. So I'm going to be using this other support as a stop loss, move and give myself a wiggle room, and then aim to the retest. So where's my retest? Somewhere around here onto this line. Do I still, or can I still have something above one? Yes, 1.87. There we go. So that is a trade that I can be taking. All right. So I'm just waiting for maybe a little bit of that strip of the lows, and then going up for this movement. Once we start hitting these areas, we want to see if we're going to be bouncing and creating a new high or not. But that needs to be seen. And why is that? Because, let me show it to you here. Come on, we are in the red, and usually we try to long, right, when we turn into the bearish or into the darker red. Do we have that darker red? Not just yet. So we need to be a little bit patient here, but we know what is our entry point. All right, that's what we're going to be going for. Remember, we need to see the ADX turning around. All right, and the ADX, it's turning up in here, so increasing the bearishness into a little more bearish. So I will say that we can still have that last sweep of the lows before we enter. Let me clear this up. All right, and let's go to the 4 hours. Now let's go for just trade setups, right? We're gonna be moving faster, and that is because we already have warmed up, right? We already have gone into the detail how to remember how to take some trades, and I know it takes some practice, but that's what we're trying to do here on Fridays, right? So 4 hours, what am I seeing? Well, a red, a bearish trigger point, right? Do I have any diamond of reversal? No, no diamond of reversal. Do I already have a movement or a darker shaded? Yes. And then also I'm having less of a movement, sorry, a loss of a strength on the bearish movement. So that's why I'm seeing that slight moving to the upside. So I either keep moving upwards to my next resistance, right? Or I keep falling down. I know I'm in a range. So what am I going to be doing? Maybe waiting for this movement to short it, or, well, I'm already gone with my entry. So the next one will be somewhere around here. I'm going to be trying to catch it a little lower here and then going upwards. So that's going to be my entry point. So somewhere around here, my stop loss, my wiggle room, my taking profits, right? And then the other way around, I'm going to be doing the same long position somewhere around here. Why? Because I see that it's weighted downwards. Maybe I can grab a little bit of a better entry. My taking profits in there, stop loss, my wiggle room, and that will be it for today. So what are we going to be doing here? Lastly, setting up early alerts, so I can get a notification, right? We can take a notification and then act upon reaction. So we have Crypto Pollo in the house. Crypto Pollo have gifted 5 membership. What's up, brother? Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Shout out to Crypto Pollo gifting 5 membership. Those memberships went to Valera, Richard, and Kari, and Dap Promo, and JB. Welcome. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by and being so awesome and giving away those membership. Really appreciate it, brother. Just love you, just love you, brother. Yeah. By the way, we need to talk and yeah, by the way, now that I do remember, I did not answer you on Discord. It just went unnoticed. But let me get, I mean, it didn't went unnoticed, but let me get back at you at that one. So thank you once again, my friend. Let's go and then let's take a look at what else we have here. So let's just minimize those and let's start acting upon our setups. So let's go for Ethereum. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum, hashtag Ethereum. If you know, you know. Fidelity Ethereum, right? So at this point, we're in lower areas in here. We already have, we are on a bearish scenario. We're not losing the strength just now. Let's see what our prime oscillator pro is telling us. Well, bullish divergence, pushing upwards. Seems like we might have a push up to what? To the next resistance or to our EMA, SMA combo right there. Is this a trade that I would be taking? Maybe not, because despite this looks like a sweep of the lows and a double bottom, I'd rather see breakout, retest, and off we go. So far, guys, on low volume, more bearishness, we need to be cautious, all right? Nonetheless, I do see the setup here. Let me bring up other supports. There we go. I have daily support right there and daily resistance. So let's go for a half of a position. Where? Let's call it, you know what, right now. Why not? We need to be very careful because we're going to be entering right now into this one, and we could be having a reverse trade because of the volume. All right, I'm going to be aiming at the previous low and then giving myself that wiggle room like that and aiming right at my combo right there for TP number 1. Guys, this is half of an entry, right? This is because I don't have that confidence on this movement because I'm still bearish, right? And I'm getting compressed. If something, I could be having that movement and then a very sharp reaction to the downside. So the next thing is going to be, after we have the movement to the upside, we're going to be looking for a short position. So once again, right there, after the class, I'm going to be taking this trade. This is going to be a trade that I will be taking. No rush, OC. Thank you, my friend. Really appreciate it. Let's see. By the way, the odds go me very confused. Not going to lie, but I'm still on the 74-ish. Sweep on BTC. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, by the way, that call that you made today, my friend, take a look at the D. Well, man, that actually was a fantastic advice, my friend. All right, let me bring that up because I need to tell this. In the morning, Crypto Pollo was on the morning market show, in the morning market report, right, in the morning show, and he was saying, "Hey, OC, look at the D," and I was like, "Man, this guy has got to be kidding me, right?" I don't know what did not click on my brain, right? But he actually meant the dominance of the altcoins, right? So basically, all the money, yeah, man. I was laughing. I was laughing inside, and then like I kind of like glanced at it at the comment, and I kind of like ignore it. And I need to be honest, right? So sorry for that. And I was like, man, should I be? I don't know, laughing. What is he talking about? Like, I tried to read above to see if there was a joke going on, right, about looking at the D, and then he mentioned it again on the Prime class, and I was like, hey, what do you mean? And he was the dominance, and Dude, you gotta be kidding me. How did I not see that? Yeah, of course. The dominance, right? The dominance. And he got me looking at the dominance. So let's take a look at the dominance in here. So he was looking at oh man, there we go. There this is it. The crypto total market excluding the top 10 dominance. So it is the other D. So it actually came on that comment right at the same time that Alex of Crypto was taking over the chat, right? And if you know Alex of Crypto, it is the other, right? So take a look at the other D. I was like confused about it. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, too many things here at the same time. Nonetheless, let's go and take a look at what he meant. So he said, hey buddy, you know what, we might be ranging, we might be going for that strip of the lows. Seems like we also are having a 1 hour double bottom, and at that point we were right here moving forward here. We just needed to break this trend line. We got rejected, right? So we're having a descending triangle. Guys, let's remember what we learned last time on triangles, right? In here, now that we have a little bit more detail here, right? A triangle, we have three kinds of triangles, right? Triangles with parallel or converging but same direction lines. Those are wedges, all right? Those usually break to the downside or the other way around. Converging same direction lines, they usually break to the upside, all right? Then we have flat bottoms like we have right now, right? Flat bottom, triangle, usually that one breaks to the downside. And if we have a flat top triangle, those usually break to the upside, all right? So this is the case that we're seeing right now. Are we gonna have the break to the downside? We don't know. Remember, this is something like a 40% chance to break downwards. So if it's just a 40%, well then remember that we need to factor in many other things, like we're bearish, we're below our SMA combo, right? Our prime score is bearish, we are below the zero line, right? Yes, we are, look at that, we are bearish, right? Although our strength is flat, so we are not moving or doing much. So what do we need to see? Either we increase on bearish on strength and we dip, right? And we dip hard, or we reduce our strength, right? And we bounce up. I think that we're gonna be rejecting, and that is because we already had our main opportunity being taken out of our hands right there. All right, that's fine, that's okay. Nonetheless, if we bounce downwards, if we break downwards, right? And this is not something that you can trade, but it was something that you could trade, and we're gonna be seeing that with other altcoins, right? If we break downwards, what would that mean when we're talking about dominance? It means that altcoins are gonna suffer, all right? If this dominance breaks to the upside, that means that altcoins are gonna be doing well, all right? As we were talking about in the morning about this dominance, let me show you. Ethereum was pumping, right? Slightly, but pumping. Litecoin was pumping, slightly, but pumping, right? OM was doing nothing. BNB was pumping, slightly, but pumping. Atom, look at Atom, guys. And we closed that trade, by the way. So we closed it on profits. Nonetheless, it ended up just breaking to the upside. Look at that, beautiful, right? So Atom moving. EOS, well, EOS actually went downwards, so no pump in the morning. But as you can see, many altcoins ended up making that itty bitty movement to the upside, right? I mean, if we just zoom in and ask chunky candles, there we go. That is definitely a good area to take, right? So what's happening now? If we start looking at our reversal areas on our oscillator, we are turning around, but still on the green side. What does that mean? Well, if we're still in the green area, that usually means that we're gonna keep moving upward, right? So we're gonna be making something like that. And but also, how long can we stay in here? Well, we can see the big rejections are usually when we start piercing through the threshold area. So I could be looking for something like that, all right? Maybe fake out and then a continuation downwards. But remember, we have confluence and we have a support. So maybe we can peak out, then create a higher low, and then we'll need to see if this creates a dead cat bounce or creates another higher low and a higher high, right? That will be the structure that we're going to be looking for. So shout out to Crypto Pollo. That was an amazing call, to be honest. And I mean, that actually would have been very, very profitable if I would have caught it at the beginning as you were showing it to me, my friend. So shame on me for that one. Thanks for the heads up on that one also. Let's see. EOS is dead chain. Yes, it is a dead chain. So, all right, guys, there's something that we need to talk about EOS before we move on. EOS is a dead chain. There's nothing pushing it upwards other than, I believe, just looking at how far down we have been going and being a classic coin, all right? But other than that, there's nothing pushing it upwards. So when we start breaking through big support, I think we're gonna once again meet those lows. Let's take a look at daily so we have an idea. Look at this. This is daily, right? This is where we are at, right? So does this tells you growth? Not really, right? Not really. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, see, you know that there's always another tracer up. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So let's not get stuck on EOS or anything like that. Let's find something else, right? So let's see. B Team Crypto, welcome. I told Google to give me the best crypto alpha in everything and ended up here. Hey, welcome. That is fantastic, man. That is fantastic. Really like it. Thank you, my friend. Really love that answer. That comment. B Team Crypto. Love it, bro. So let's take a look at something else, right? Let's try to find that trade. Nonetheless, if this is a crypto, is this a dead crypto? Maybe, and just maybe, on the 4 hour, we can go for, look at that, a double top, right? Maybe losing the trend line here, and if we're able to, we can maybe catch a short. We just need to see it starting turning red, losing the zero line, break a retest, create that dead cat bounce, and up we go to the downside. So where are our support and resistances? There we go. We have a support. We can break this support to create a new resistance right there. So that's going to be a possible entry for a resistance downward. So maybe we can profit on a short in there. All right. Let's take a look at something else that is not dead. Link and maybe Solana, right? Link, Solana, and ADA. So at this point, Link. All right, Link, 4 hours, creating a higher low. Nonetheless, we are on a bearish structure here. Low, right? Higher, lower high, lower low, right? So this is not really something I like to see. Let me see if I can find some breakout retest. How do I do that? Manually, right? Maybe I can do my trend lines in here. There we go. I haven't broken any trend lines, but I'm kind of like teasing to make a higher low here. So, right? So this looks like a symmetrical triangle. Unknown breakout 50-50. So what in the world do I want to see a symmetrical triangle if it doesn't tell me what it's going to be breaking at? Remember that the gold, when we're talking about patterns, it's on the range lines, right? So on the boundary lines. So basically, are we on support? Yes. Are we at we above the zero line? No. So could we be maybe expecting a breakout? Not just yet. If we see that breakout here, maybe let's go for the next high. If we see a rejection, we are going to be losing that boundary line. So if I lose it, that's fine. You're not late. You're not late. Let's see. Look at that. We have another support area. So wait for that support. Wait for the bouncing here or for the range. And that's your short entry right here. Let me add an alert right there. You know what? I'm going to be moving or cloning this line, right? And then pushing it lower like this. And then I'm going to be right clicking and locking it. And again, right clicking it and making an alert. Why am I doing this? Let me explain a little bit on why am I doing this. So if I just create an alert on this trend line in here, right? And let me just get rid of the whole spaghetti here. Right, if I do an alert in here, when it goes downwards, it's gonna alert me. I don't really want alert me there. I want to have an alert once it's broken before I get to the support, right? So that's why I'm giving myself that buffering line, right? And adding the alert on the next line. So once the actual line is broken, so let's you know what? Let's even change the settings here, and let's do the style. There we go. A little bit thicker, so I can denote or note importance there, right? There we go. Now that I'm breaking, that's when I want to have my alert, right? So that's why I'm doing that entry right there, that alert on that line, all right? So that's going to be for Link. Let's take a look at Soul right now. Soul, kind of like the same. In fact, we had an alert right there, right? We ringed on that alert. We created a double bottom. We are teasing in this. Look at that. We are on the green cloud, barely pushing upwards to break the zero line. What do I need to break? Well, I can create a trend line in here, right? I need to see structure being formed, right? I need to see that I'm holding this support, right? In fact, you know what? I'm going to be moving my alert slightly right to the support zone. And that is going to be, for me, my next entry before I break out, all right? So this is, well, not for sure. I still need to see that I'm piercing through my zero line, all right? If I measure my support or my stop loss is going to be right there and give myself that wiggle room, this is going to be half of an entry. Guys, we are bearish. We are bearish. We're bearish. We're bearish, right? We can't trust the market at this point, especially not with longs. So why am I just insisting on longs? Because we're at bottoms, right? We are at bottoms. And if we can make that change of structure, we have a little chance to position ourselves at what I believe is going to be a range, right? We already have the first one, the second one, the third one. If we can make it up here, I think we can range trade this whole thing, right? But I still need to test the waters. I don't want to just jump into an infested water with piranhas, right? I don't want to be liquidity for smart money, right? So that's why I need to be careful. Talking about smart money, I can start using my VPVR. Where's my VPVR? Oh, I don't have it. I removed it. All right. If I remove that VPVR, let me see if I can add another VPVR. Let me go here and let's take a look at the volume profile magnifier. No liquidity. Although I would like to see trend lines, liquidity zones. And this one, let's click OK. And maybe here, let's turn this one off, turn this one on. And here, I might be interested to see, it's all the way up here, market structure, fair value gaps, volume profile. My volume profile, I want to measure, there's too many channels here. I'm not interested on that. All right, let me give you guys a little bit of advice in here. When you see that many channels, it's not good. I mean, for me at least, it's not something that makes sense, right? So I can change that. Instead of making profile levels 30, I can do less of those. Let's go for 20, and maybe I can do, instead of 300, I can do 250 look back period. All right, let's see if that fixes it. I think that's much better. I can even go lower in here, I believe. Let's go 15. There we go. Let's click OK. I think that will be more than enough. And what I'm looking here, perfect, much better, are actually chunky candles. I'm looking for chunky areas, right, where I can define areas of entry, right, areas of exit here. So from here to there, it seems like we have a gap. So if we're able to just take this area and break it, I think we're on for a trade all the way up here. So yeah, this looking cool. It's looking good. All right, let's move into the next one. Let's do ADA, and let's wrap it up on ADA. If you guys have any other thing that you want me to take a look at, please let me know right now in the side chat, and I'll be more than happy to give you my opinion on here. So JR, what's up, brother? Welcome. I'm always happy to see you, my friend. So let's see, we have a bottom, higher low in here, right? We have a huge scam wick here. We need to be careful. Let's try not to even measure that. In fact, if we start not measuring this blow off top with pump and dump, and we go for a little bit more structure, I think we can pair it with these 3-1. So that makes a little bit more sense to me. There we go. So symmetrical triangle. Smart money entries, but that would be at the breakout. So look at that. In fact, we already have an alert. Let's move that alert to our possible bouncing zone. All right, so I think we could be doing something like that and continuing downwards. All right, I don't see that too much that we're gonna be going upwards here. We need to be careful. Let me bring up this ones because I want to see liquidity zones. All right, liquidity zones, remember that you can also use your order blocks. Where are my order blocks? Order blocks in here. There we go. All right, so this order block, I do see order blocks here as a resistance, so I am on an order block. So be careful because it's also matching with my liquidity, with my, look at that, SMA combo, right? So most likely I'm gonna be going slightly up and then rejecting. All right, so let's fix this. Let's move it like that. All right, going up, downwards to support, and then breakout retest, and possible off we go. So far, this is the plan. So when are we going to be taking maybe the short? We could be looking for a short, and we need to, where is my oscillator? There we go. We need to have either rejection from the zero line, right? Or continuation of the bullish movement. How do I know? We just need to be patient. Breakout retest. Off we go. We enter here. Not here. Here. All right, maybe one candle close. So that's what I'm going to be looking up for ADA. If not, at the same time, rejection, right, at the breakout retest, at next rejection, right there. All right, my AI sister, what are we talking about? Chunky candles. Oh, our nemesis. Chunky candles. Right. Yeah, ADA in the middle of me. No entry at this point. Short, long. Yeah, there's no entry right now. We're just kind of like just ranging. If we just go farther back down, and let me just get rid of everything, or mostly everything. There we go. We are creating on ADA, I would say that again, I'm trying to get rid of, not consider this cam wick, right? We are making a gigantic symmetrical triangle, and we are, look at that, prolonging the bearish. I think that in the long run, we are gonna have maybe sweep of the lows and then a movement to the upside. Look at that. If I prolonged my MA combo, it actually pairs with my trend line. So this could be a very nice trade if we can catch this bottom. All right, let me see. Do we have some support? Yeah, look at that. So our entry is going to be between these two zones, right? Why? Because the first line is going to act as a stop or as reducing the speed. and the second one as the actual hard limit. All right, so why not, let's add another, there we go, another alert right there. All right, guys, so I think that's gonna be it for today. We already have taken a look at a couple of other things in here. Let me just wrap it up with silver. Guys, I don't know what's going on with silver. It's just plummeting here. I don't think that this is too bad. All right, but we are on big support. I want to see the flip of the ribbon, right? And I want to compare it with gold. Gold is also having an overbought area, right? So this could be a good area not to enter, but to start watching for maybe head and shoulders, right? If we lose this area right here, I think we can be having a better entry somewhere around here for then bouncing back up. So if you're looking for an entry, look at that, we have bearish divergence, right? We are going to the red cloud. We are having that darker green. We're losing the strength, right? What does my SRI tells me? Look at that big candle, engulfing candle. So let's just wait on gold and silver. I actually just saw it and I was about to skip it, but I think this is going to be important for the upcoming weekend. So we're seeing less of the price, or like falling out of the only up only movement of gold. That might give us some space to breathe, right? So this is what we want to keep pushing upwards. So we're not bearish, we're just retracing, all right, on gold and silver. So other than that, guys, thank you so much for joining today. Hopefully you guys are having a blast. First of all, spend time with your family, spend time with your friends, spend time a little bit away of the charts, but keep your alerts on, right? You don't want to miss those movements, but also you don't want to miss the important people that surrounds you, right? Those guys that are there where you need it the most, those guys that are there listening at your problems, also that are there with their hearts. Do not underestimate the people that love you and cares about you. By the way, if you want or you're expecting someone to care, well, give me a call. I do care. So if you have nobody else, I bet you do. But let me know and we can hang out maybe in the weekends. We can do some gaming. By the way, I am prepared. This weekend, I'm going to be doing some mobile gaming. So if you're doing Halo Infinite, let me know. I'm going to be there. So hit me up if you want to do some gaming, or if you just want to talk. I'm all there for you guys. Guys, hopefully you have a great weekend, fantastic weekend. And as always, see you guys on Monday. Ciao.